Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder, still kicking it with the Apex team. So I'm just going to jump right into it as we look for a battle. So the last couple of episodes, we've really been around the 1850s. I feel like a lot of the episodes have been one win and one loss. So at this rate, it'd be really nice to pick up some momentum as we try to head into the 1900s by picking up 2 wins. So we'll see. But of course, when you're in the 1850s or so, you're going to end up being paired against opponents that are also very highly rated. So it's a difficult position to be in. But of course, there's no better way to feature, high quality VGC matches than being this high on the ladder. So Chum from Japan with a rating of 1734 is going to be our first opponent of the day, with a team of Tyranitar, Lucario, Amoonguss, Scizor, Garchomp, and Salamence. So, lots of old Pokemon, basically all old Pokemon. With the, first of all, what's interesting is my opponent has 5 potential Megas. The Salamence, Lucario, Scizor, Garchomp, and Tyranitar could all be Mega Evolutions, but, you would think Salamence, or Lucario are the 2 more likely ones. It's a very offensive team for my opponent, but the Amoonguss there, really solid for support. So the question is what I want to bring. Venusaur here is really solid, but the thing is, if it's not I don't know what Salamence that is. Honestly, it could be normal Salamence. It also could be Mega Salamence. It could be, special Mega Salamence or physical Mega Mens. So, really tricky team to predict from my opponent's side. I like that, there's so many Pokemon that could be Mega Evolution, just because, that throws you off your game a bit as well. And I honestly don't like my matchup here very much. Suicune's really good against the entire team, but I have to watch out for the Amoonguss, because that's the one thing Suicune really doesn't like to deal with. Right now I'm leaning towards leading Gengar Suicune, so I could taunt a potential Amoonguss, and I can hit the Salamence, Garchomp, and Tyranitar for super effective. And just set up a Tailwind, and my opponent doesn't really look like he has any way of good speed control. So I think I'm leaning towards those two. I don't know. This is really tough. None of my I just don't have a very good matchup in general against his dragons. Like, Heatran's alright under Tailwind support, but it just feints to Earthquake from Garchomp. I think I'm gonna go with Bisharp just because of how much damage it can do against everything. And for the last one, it's really between Terrakion and Venusaur, though I'm leaning towards Venusaur for the overall bulk. And you know what? I'm gonna go with it. My opponent's team is very physical, so that way I could switch into a potential physical type attacks. So we'll see. I definitely don't like my matchup here. It was like yesterday's second game, if you didn't watch yesterday's episode. It was also a pretty tough matchup. So when I built this team for Apex, it was pretty anti-meta, but, these teams, at least this team, is not very meta in itself. But we see the Salamence Lucario lead coming out against Gengar Suicune. This is actually a really solid lead matchup for me. Because what I can do here is just Icy Wind and Tailwind the first turn. Reason why I want to Icy Wind here is so I can avoid a potential Follow Me from Lucario, since Lucario, of course, is a Pokemon that gets access to Follow Me. 2 good examples of Lucario being used in VGC are Simon Yip and Jody's spreads and sets from Nationals 2014 and Worlds 2014. Jody, of course, used a Mega Lucario while Simon didn't, but it is definitely a really good support mon. And it's also one of those Pokemon where you never know exactly what's coming your way. But I'm just going to Tailwind and Icy Wind this first turn. Icy Wind to get some damage off, break a potential Sash on that Lucario. Salamence reveals itself to be Mega Salamence, so now the question is whether it's special or physical. I do want to try to knock that out immediately so the Venusaur has a better time. No Follow Me coming out from Lucario, so I'm going to get an Icy Wind off, but now I fear that we might see a final Gambit coming out from that Lucario, but that Icy Wind does so much damage to that Salamence, putting it in knockout range from another one. Oh, as we see the Salamence actually going for a Tailwind of its own. Did not expect that. And Lucario goes for the close combat. Okay, I don't mind that one bit, because I'm going to be able to take that, and I'm going to be able to set up a Tailwind with my Salamence, or my Suicune. So now I actually outspeed my opponent's Salamence and Lucario, so that ends up playing out perfectly, as that Mega Salamence is not looking too hot right now. And the Lucario, of course, is at -1 in both defense and special defense, so not much predictions really needed here. I'm just going to go for the Scald onto Lucario and an Icy Wind. I suppose we're going to see a Protect come out from the Salamence, and Lucario might try to get an attack off, but I don't know. That was a really good first turn for me. I'm not sure if I really agree with the Mega Salamence Tailwind call. I don't know. Mega Salamence is a Pokemon that you really want to invest in its offenses. You can put a lot of bulk on it as well, but the thing is, like, I guess Tailwind makes sense as a filler move, but it's like Mega Salamence gets access to so many powerful attacks that I would prefer to pair Mega Salamence up with a Tailwind user, such as Zapdos, There are a lot of viable Tailwind users, but I don't know. Like, when you put yourself in the risk of there, not sure what my opponent was really going for there, just because Suicune, of course, gets access to Ice Beam as well. So, you know, I'm sure he wasn't expecting both the Icy Wind and the Tailwind coming out the same turn, but I don't know. I think that was somewhat of a questionable play from my opponent's end. So no switch out here, and Lucario is just going to stay in. And Salamence goes for a Protect. Let's see if Icy Wind and Scald can knock it out. I'd actually prefer that it doesn't knock it out, because that way I could double target for 2 KOs the following turn. But my Gengar already outspeeds everything on my opponent's team anyway, so I'm not really too worried, as Scald is going to go into Lucario and does not pick up the knockout, but gets the burn. That's actually as ideal as it gets for my opponent, because the Lucario gets an attack off before fainting, so my opponent gets a free switch into whatever he has in the back. But you know, a normal Lucario close combating my Suicune is not going to be doing very much, so I don't mind this at all. As Suicune is going to eat its Citrus Berry, but Lucario here is going to faint from burn, and that Mega Salamence at -1 speed, definitely in a tough position right now. So, once again, I really can't stress out how good the first 2 turns really played out for me here. My opponent's going to get a switch in, it looks like Scizor is coming in here. Oh, Tyranitar. Scizor actually has the same first character, I believe, so I mixed the 2 up, but good switch in for my opponent. Now I'm really glad because I've got Venus or Bisharp in the back, and of course Bisharp can just KO the Salamence at that range. So if I were my opponent, I'd switch out the Salamence. Well, the question is what my opponent has in the back. So I could here Will-O-Wisp the Tyranitar and Scald it, expecting a switch out from the Salamence. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this play. And it does switch out, so perfect. The question is what's coming in now. If it's a Moongus, things might get a bit annoying, but it's actually going to be the Garchomp, so I guess I could have just Icy Winded there. As that's actually a Scarftar. The Rock Slide going before my Gengar even gets an attack off. Will-O-Wisp does connect, though. That's excellent for me because, obviously, you know, burning Tyranitar, especially a physical one like that, is really good. And Suicune gets a Scald off, so I'm feeling really good about my position right now. Scarftar was something I was considering, so I'm thinking maybe I could have Icy Winded there, you know, to get rid of the speed boost that the Choice Scarf gives Tyranitar, but you know what, I'm not going to complain. I got the burn against it, which is really good. And Bisharp does really well at the position, at this point. Let's see. I think I'm actually going to switch... You know what, it's fine if I lose Gengar here. I don't want Venusaur to take too much damage because I want to get it in for free and let it Mega Evolve. So I'm just going to Ice Beam the Garchomp. Honestly, if I'm my opponent here, I'm going to double Rock Slide. Because, you know, you get the chance of flinching Suicune, which already ate up its Citrus Berry. But Garchomp protects. Okay. Good play there. But a burn Tyranitar spamming Rock Slide's not really doing too much damage, but the flinch chance is definitely the scariest part about that. So I get the Icy Wind off here, which also negates the Choice Scarf boost, which is great for me. As the Tyranitar's lifespan is basically clicking down at this rate. Gengar gonna faint from the Sandstorm here, but you know, I'm still feeling pretty good about my position. However, basically my Bisharp's kind of the main Pokemon here, as let's see, Tailwind peters out from both ends. So, let's see, I'm definitely bringing in Venusaur here just because I want to get some damage off. Like, if I Giga Drain the Garchomp, it's going to basically be in Sucker Punch KO range, so then Bisharp can close out the game. So, I'm going to Mega Evolve, and I'm going to go straight for the Giga Drain onto Garchomp, and I'm actually going to Tailwind here. Because my opponent doesn't have a great way to knock out my Suicune, as he actually stays in with the Tyranitar. I thought we might have seen a potential switch out into Salamence, but I really think we're just going to see Rock Slide spam right now. Yep, the Garchomp goes for a Rock Slide. So he's not going to be able to KO me here, but the chances of flinching are very high. I'm honestly expecting the double flinch. Let's see. Suicune flinches, Venusaur flinches. Oh, that's annoying for sure. That's annoying for sure. Had I gotten either one of those attacks off, you know, it would have been really good, but that's the win condition my opponent's playing for right now, so I can't really blame him. Let's see. Now the question is whether I want to switch Suicune out into Bisharp, because if I switch it and my opponent calls the switch out and goes for the EQ with Garchomp, then I'm in trouble. Tough call. I don't think I want to risk it. I'm not going to risk it, yeah. So I'm going to just go for the Giga Drain onto Chomp again and go for a potential Tailwind. Of course, Rock Slide always has a chance of missing as well. Oh, but it goes straight for the dragon. Okay, good play there. So I actually should have switched, but I really didn't want my opponent to make the potential Earthquake play, because if I lost Bisharp, I would actually basically lose the game, I think. As another Rock Slide coming out from Tar there. Hopefully no flinch this time around. Does get the Giga Drain off, which is fantastic. And yeah, that definitely does enough damage. Actually gets a crit, so I guess making up a bit for that Rock Slide hacks. But yeah, now it's in Sucker Punch KO range, which is fantastic for me. But we might get into some mind games here, because I think we're definitely going to see the Garchomp protect here. There's really no reason not to protect. I'll get a free switch into Resalamence. So I'll Giga Drain Tar. Actually, I'm going to Sludge Bomb it in case my opponent decides to get fancy and switch out into Salamence. And I'm just going to go for the Sucker Punch onto Garchomp. But I think we're just going to see a protect and Rock Slide here. Yeah. Oh, this is a really intense match. Basically, if I got the Tailwind up there, it would have been like 100% victory. Now we've got some mind games going on, but hey, that's what makes the game a bit more exciting, as Rock Slide does nothing there, and Venusaur gets a Sludge Bomb off, gonna knock out Tyranitar. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe I actually should have Icy Winded instead of Will-O-Wisp Beam, but I was expecting maybe a Moongus was in the back for my opponent, so this match just got really interesting, as Mence is gonna come in now. Now the thing is, I still don't know what kind of Mega Salamence it is. If it's physical, you know, with Return / Double Edge, you can just one-hit KO Venusaur. So the question is, who do I Sucker Punch with Bisharp here? Do I Sucker Punch Chomp, which just protected last turn? Or do I predict my opponent to try to protect again with Garchomp and attack with the Venusaur? Alternatively, I could actually protect here with Venusaur. I don't know. I think my opponent here is going to attack with Mence and try to protect again with the Garchomp. Oh, this is actually a really tough position. Okay, I'm gonna protect Venusaur and Sucker Punch. I'm gonna go for the Chomp. Okay, the fact that Venusaur protected indicates to me Chomp probably didn't protect, but I guess we'll find out. Sucker Punch. Oh, it went off. Perfect. And it picks up the KO. That's really intense. Though, oh, I guess if Salamence has Earthquake there, I just misplayed, I think. You might see an Earthquake come out from Salamence. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay, it has Hyper Voice. Thank goodness. So I had a feeling it might have been Special Mence just because it made a bit more sense given my opponent's team composition, but wow, that was a really intense game. Now I can just Sucker Punch and Sludge Bomb, and Sucker Punch should pick up the KO, the Salamence at this range. So yeah, had my opponent went for the protect play there with Garchomp, I think he actually would have been able to win, but Sucker Punch should knock the Salamence out here, as it does. So I'm going to be able to pick up a 2-0 victory in the first game of today, but that was a really intense match, especially given how good the first two turns played out. So great game to you, Chun, there, because that was awesome. You know, special Tailwind Mega Mence, Scarf Tar, Lucario. Really interesting team there. You know, a bunch of, you know, I get not even that standard Pokemon. Like Garchomp isn't as common as last year, just because Landorus T is a thing, but it still is really good. The normal Lucario definitely was one of the more interesting teams, or Pokemon on my opponent's team, but definitely a really interesting game. We're just gonna jump right into it, look for another match. So over 1850 again, which is great. Hopefully we can sustain it with another win for the second game of today. Also, shoutouts to everyone who tuned into last night's stream, as we're gonna find a 1769 rated player from Japan. Yeah, on the stream, we actually broke over 1,000 live viewers at once, which was crazy, as my opponent here has a pretty similar team to mine. And yeah, for those wondering, I do stream a lot now at twitch.tv/CybertronVGC, especially since I am a Twitch partner, so if you don't follow that channel, definitely give it a follow. But let's talk about this team matchup. We see a Suicune, Terrakion, Gardevoir, Heatran, Abomasnow, and Salamence. So first of all, the question is, what's the Mega Evolution of my opponent's team? That was the question in the previous game, and once again it is here. Could be Abomasnow, Salamence, or Gardevoir, which is the tough thing to call. The Suicune mirror match here is pretty interesting. Now, my Suicune here is actually really good against my opponent's entire team, so I'm definitely leading with it. Now, the question is who I want to pair it up with. I think Gengar here makes the most sense. I tend to lead Gengar Suicune a lot, but, you know, it makes sense. Gengar is a fast Pokemon. It can taunt and Icy Wind right away. So I'm leaning towards Gengar Suicune. Bisharp's really good in terms of getting the one-hit KO on Abomasnow and Gardevoir here. So I'm going to go with that. And I'm thinking Terrakion for my last one. Probably not going to want Heatran here. Doesn't do very well against any of my opponent's Pokemon, really. Now, the question is whether I want Terrakion or Venusaur. I'm actually leaning towards Terrakion this time around because it makes my Abomasnow matchup a bit better. And it can one-hit KO my opponent's Terrakion, Heatran, and Abomasnow. Whereas Venusaur, I don't know. It gives me a better Suicune matchup. This is a tough call to make. But I think I'm going to go with Terrakion. I just like to have a way to one-hit KO the Heatran, the Abomasnow, and Terrakion, because I can see those Pokemon all giving me some trouble. So, gonna jump into the second match of today. A win here would be great, probably putting us in like the high 1860s. But yeah, Road to Ranked has been really fun. I hope you guys have been enjoying it as much as I have, because it's a great way to get some practice in, and I mean, it's really cool to just try to climb the online ladder alongside you guys. So, gonna go with Gengar and Suicune against my opponent's own Suicune and Abomasnow. Interesting. As pressure comes out from Suicune before Abomasnow, Snow Warning, so I'm guessing that's not going to be a Scarf Abomasnow. The issue here is my Suicune's pressure went last, so I'm guessing I'm slower than, I'm basically slower than both. Tough call to make here. It's not a bad matchup, but based off the fact my opponent led right away with the Abomasnow, I'd have to guess it's, yeah, it's the Mega Evolution, because it's not Scarfed either. So what I could do here is taunt Suicune and Tailwind, because I know I can take a Giga Drain. But the thing is, do I really want to take a Giga Drain? Alternatively, I could switch out into Bisharp, which I think I'm going to go for, and taunt the Suicune. Yeah, I'm going to go for this play. But see, by going for this play, I do put myself in the risk of my opponent predicting the switch out, which is of course always bad, but we'll see. Not much Abomasnow can do against Bisharp. Okay, Abomasnow doesn't Mega Evolve or Protect. This taunt does go on to Suicune, and wow, we see the Snarl coming out from Suicune, but that's actually gonna give me the the Defiant boost. So the real question is what Abomasnow is gonna go for. I'm gonna take that boost with joy though. That's a really good boost for me here. Abomasnow going straight for the Blizzard. Excellent play on my opponent's end there, predicting my switch out. As Gengar is actually able to hang on with 17 HP, and no freeze is coming out, so that was really good. You know, both our Pokemon taking some hail damage there, but I'm not going to complain. Especially since the Suicune is taunted and it's forced to attack here. Let's see. I think I'm just going to go for Knockoff onto Suicune and Sludge Bomb onto Abomasnow. If Abomasnow wants to try to KO Bisharp here, yeah, this is basically what I was saying. It's going to have to try to get a Blizzard off. I might actually faint from the Oh, Knockoff actually did not pick up the KO there. That's really bad for me. But this is alright. I mean, I don't know. Now this game gets interesting, actually, because I'm going to faint from the Blizzard here, so I suppose I misplayed a bit there. I mean, Suicune is such a defensive Pokemon. I thought maybe with the Life Orb and the Defiant Boost I would have been able to knock it out, but that's just a testament to how bulky Suicune is. And that was a really good first turn play from my opponent, expecting the Suicune switch out. So now this match gets a bit more interesting. Of course, I'm down 4-2 right now, but I still have Suicune and Terrakion in the back, and I'm guaranteed a Tailwind up here. I can Tailwind Rock Slide, and things can easily swing back into my favor. And with the Tailwind, I can actually basically outspeed and ensure knockouts on Terrakion and Heatran. I also have Snarl with my Suicune, so I can decrease the special attack of the Gardevoir and Salamence, which my opponent has in the back. So this match just got a lot more interesting, but tough first couple of turns, just because my opponent was able to pick up knockouts immediately. However, this is one of the cases where, even though I'm down by a considerable amount, things aren't still looking too bad. We are going to see the Suicune switch out, I'd assume into Salamence, but it's actually going to be Heatran, which I'm not going to complain about. A double switch, actually, so let's see if Salamence comes in here. Yep, there is a Salamence. But I just got a Tailwind up for free. But if I predicted that switch and Ice Beam then close combat, that would have been so clutch. But hey, you know what? I'm not going to complain. I get the Rock Slide off. Wow, there's a lot of damage there, and the Tailwind up. So that's really, really good for me right now. And that's definitely going to be Mega Immense. Now, let's see. I have to play this carefully. Basically, I can't afford to lose either of my Pokemon. And the Intimidate against Terrakion, it's also bad, because I don't think I can even knock out Heatran with a close combat right now. So, let's see. Honestly, right now I'm thinking of Rock Sliding and Snarling. That's because with Snarl, Heatran can't knock out Terrakion with an Earth Power or Flash Cannon, I don't think. Though I don't know. That would give my opponent a chance to pick up some offense. I could alternatively just protect Terrakion here and Scald the Heatran so I could Ice Beam close combat the following turn. I have to play these couple of turns safely because I'm actually not in a bad position given how good that last turn went, but like I said, I can't afford to lose a Pokemon right now. So Snarl Rock Slide isn't a bad play. You know, I get the flinch chance on Heatran, I get the special attack decrease onto Heatran. I'm probably going to knock out the Salamence as well. You know, the one thing here I don't want to see is a Tailwind come out from the Salamence. I think I'm going to go on the more offense here and just Snarl and Rock Slide. It also punishes a potential Protect from either Pokemon. Salamence is going to Mega Evolve. It might have actually made more sense for my opponent to have switched out the Salamence to Shuffle and Intimidates to bring my Terrakion to -2. At least that's what I would have done. Okay, so no Protects coming out, so I am just going to get a Rock Slide off. Okay. Suicune gets the Snarl off. I really hope it can knock out that Salamence. Okay, as it does. Perfect. And the special attack decrease onto Heatran. So that was a really good turn. That was a really good turn. Let's see what the Heatran goes for here. Yep, the Flash Cannon. I don't think he can knock out Terrakion at -1, but I guess we'll see. As it doesn't. Perfect. This is a really intense match. Now I worry that I might be in Ice Shard KO range. Let's see. So I'm thinking alternatively a safer play there was to just protect and Scald, but the issue here is I don't want to, I didn't want that Mega Salamence to get an attack off, though I guess I'm worrying a bit much just because Suicune can deal with it. Like, I could have taken a double edge, so I'm not sure if the damage on the Terrakion there was worth it, because Abomasnow is going to be able to come in here, and it can just Ice Shard. I actually don't know if Ice Shard can even knock out Terrakion, though, that's the main thing. So I'm gonna Scald and Rock Slide. I don't think Ice Shard can knock my Terrakion out. Okay, he protects with Heatran, which makes sense. I suppose we'd see that. I actually should have protected Terrakion there, anticipating Ice Shard. That was a bad play. Wow, it actually did not even put me in Hail Kick. Oh, man! No, I missed the Rock Slide. That was the... Oh, but Hail stops. If there's any clutch time for Hail to stop, it's right there. Wow. So yeah, the Heatran Protect was kind of obvious, so I was thinking maybe I should have attacked the Abomasnow there, but it's not like I could have knocked it out anyway. So now I could close combat Heatran. Or I could just Rock Slide Scald again, just because Ice Shard doesn't look like it could hit. I mean, it did 21 damage there, so I'm just going to Rock Slide and Scald again. Man, we are trying to pull this comeback right now, and it is looking likely, but had I hit that Rock Slide, I think I would have been able to pull it off, just because I could double up into Heatran the following turn with Close Combat and Scald, and my opponent's Suicune doesn't have Recovery, so definitely untimely miss there, and I could have predicted, you know, the miss, you know, anticipating it and targeting the Abomasnow there, but I figured it wasn't worth it. I rather would have just tried to target down the Heatran. Of course, there is a chance that Ice Shard still knocks out Terrakion here, so we'll see. As it does get the Ice Shard off, doesn't knock me out. It doesn't. I hang out with 7 HP. Rock Slide connects. That's huge. As it should knock out Abomasnow. Wow. This is so intense. Do I get the Scald off here? I do. Does it KO Heatran? I think it will. It won't. Wow, that's so close. And the Fire Blast coming out there. Onto... Wow, that's a misplay on my opponent's end. Big misplay there. It made sense, you know, I guess at this point... I mean, there's not much a Heatran and a Suicune can do against my Suicune, but I think if my opponent wanted any shot at winning, it was to double into Terrakion there. But, pretty awesome 4-2 comeback, guys. Wow, what a great 2 games today. So I'm just going to play it safe here. I'm going to Scald Heatran and Close Combat Suicune. Suicune, of course, a Pokemon that often doesn't carry Protect, so I feel pretty good about Close Combating. If it does Protect, then my opponent's Heatran knocks out the Terrakion. But I knock it out with the Scald, and then it's my almost full HP, or 3/4 full HP Suicune against my opponent. So, looking like a win here, but of course it's not over until it's over. I'm going to Close Combat the Suicune here, of course. Don't want to risk missing Rock Slide as we saw earlier on. Also don't want that Tailwind, potential Tailwind coming up. I guess I could have set up a Tailwind on my end there, but really not necessary at this point. But yeah, wow, fantastic match there. Suicune hanging on there from the +2 knockoff from Bisharp definitely caught me off guard. As we do see the Heatran going for the Protect, but that's fine since I attacked into Suicune. And yeah, the Hail ending that turn was huge too. One thing that you should do in VGC, I actually don't do it as much as I really should, is be counting weather basically. You know, if you go against Hail, Sun, Rain, which are all pretty common in VGC, make sure you know when exactly it's ending, because that really can help you out in terms of making plays for the future. So I thought if my opponent got one more turn of Hail there, Terrakion would have been in Ice Shard KO range. So that was the main issue. But now I can just Scald and close combat. And if anything, this game is a perfect demonstration, as my opponent does forfeit there and I take the 2-1 win. It's really a perfect demonstration of momentum in VGC, which I talk about so much in all my videos. You know, a lot of the times you think, wow, you know, I'm down so many Pokemon, down 4-2, how can I ever win? But the thing is, it basically set myself up perfectly because I had Suicune and Terrakion in the back. You know, Tailwind is one of those moves where you need to take advantage of all the turns you get. So if you're able to pick up knockouts, you know, with Tailwind doubling your speed, you have so much advantage, especially with an offensive Pokemon like Terrakion. And Suicune complements Terrakion pretty well. So I think, yeah, it was just a really good demonstration of how even if you're down 4-2, if you have the right Pokemon, it can easily squeeze you out the win. Of course, I was relying on playing well in the end, and you never really want to be down 2-4 to start a match, but if there was any good time to be down 2-4, it was that case where I had Terrakion and Suicune to close it out. But yeah, my opponent definitely got the better of me with the leads because I led Suicune into a Abomasnow and Suicune, which definitely caught me off guard. You know, for example, if I led Bisharp and Gengar immediately instead, it would have been a lot better. But it was a really fantastic match, and I definitely enjoyed it a lot. So that should put us in the high 1860s, which is great. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was pretty long, but it was a lot of fun. Of course, leave a like if you did, and I shall see you tomorrow. Alright, peace.